Hello and welcome to the sixth session of Monday Morning Mojo, a program created by FineWealth where we use words wisely to equip you with the power to convert your talents, passion, and skills into worthwhile, decent, income-generating activities. I am your mentor, Magdalene Kamawotieno. Karibu. Now, I want us to talk about something very exciting, negotiating or bargaining. Do you ever feel like you need to bargain for a product when you are buying or a service? I know I do. I feel good about it. And sometimes it's not because I don't have the money. I actually don't think you bargain or you negotiate for a lower price because you don't have the money. I believe that actually we as human beings, you and I negotiate because we feel the urge to exercise our negotiating genie from time to time. Actually, when the service we want or the product we want matches with the seller that we really desire to buy from, chances are, as we negotiate, we're not negotiating because we want a lower price. And even if we wanted to, chances are, if they don't come down, this is a very good chance we'll go round and round and look for extra cash. You see, I told you, it is not usually about the money. It's something psychological. It's because inside us, our negotiating genie wants us to push it out. It wants to show, we want to find out whether our genie, our inner genie has that ability to convince someone to give us something for a lesser price. Now, I know you're thinking like, I always bargain because I want a lower price. Really? Actually, I dare you. If the seller you're going to is your favorite seller and they have your favorite product, even if they give you all the reasons why they cannot lower the price, chances are that you will not want to buy from someone else. You'll go around and look for the money and then come back. Very interesting. Now, I want us to discuss this. Why negotiating or negotiation must have a place in pricing of a product. And then we'll also discuss 3 things you should never do when you're in a service-based business. Negotiating is not something we take for granted. And that's why I want us to look at this. Why negotiation must have a place in pricing of a product. And then we'll also, as I said, we'll also look at 3 things we should never do when we're in a service-based business or when we're talking to people in service-based businesses in relation to negotiation. Now imagine if I offered you to come and do your laundry and to clean up your living room after you've had a party. Chances are you're thinking like, yeah, I'm not gonna do this work. It's actually really hard to do some of these jobs, And I know laundry is not meant for everybody. Chances are you actually don't like doing your laundry like I actually don't like doing my laundry. So assume I'm coming to you and I give you this offer that I will come and do your laundry for 5,000 shillings, which is an equivalent of $50. And I'll come and do your laundry and clean up your sitting room, nothing else. And unfortunately, because it's just after the party, you've spent all your money and you just got 4,000 shillings. So you're wondering, she wants 5,000, I have 4,000. What's going to happen? There's a difference of 1,000 shillings. What's going to happen? Would you send me away? Would you say, you know what, I can't afford you? Chances are, no, absolutely not. Chances are you could do these 4 things. And in relation to this discussion, the 4 things that you could do, and I know you'll apply this anywhere else, the first thing you could do is you could say something like this. You could actually offer that I do it for you. I come and do the laundry and cleaning your living room for 4,000 shillings. But at the same time, you'd probably say, you see, instead of just doing it once, why can't you come and do it twice every week for 3 months? And then after that, we can revise. You see, what you've done, you've extended the offer, yet you haven't shifted your price. And I look at it and say, oh, wow, 5,000 shillings once off, 4,000 shillings twice a week. That sounds, I got a deal. Even if you said 4,000 shillings per week, but then we have this deal, you lengthen the time, which means that you're actually extending my work, you're making it on long term, chances are that I'll agree to that because you're being respectful to my work. The other thing you could do is that you could promise to refer me to your network. Hey, you just cut off my marketing dollars, and that's awesome. You see, you're still being respectful and you're saying, I don't have 5,000 shillings, I have 4,000 shillings. So please take the 4,000 shillings, but I will refer you to a few of my friends who are probably single, probably don't like washing, and hey, you won't have to market yourself. You just have to create the time to go and do the work. Beautiful. I feel respected. I can now say, you know what, just give me the 4,000 shillings, let me do the work. Why? Because I know now, so surely you're going to do the marketing for me. Well, we still got 2 more to go. The other thing you could do is to reduce my expenses. You could say, I live somewhere near, I know a friend who lives near where you are. So they could give you a lift when you're coming here. That way you don't have to pay fare. Or better still, you could say, I'll give you lunch. I'll give you lunch, or I'll leave for you some lunch to eat while you're cleaning, and maybe 4 o'clock tea and biscuits. That way, then I won't have to spend the money you're paying me for lunch. You see, you have lowered my expenses so that I may meet you halfway. And think about it. I don't think your lunch will actually be equal to 1,000 shillings, would it? I don't think so. I don't even think you would pay me. I mean, you would actually go that far, because come to think of it, chapati and beans, or what we call chapati maharagwe, only cost like 100 shillings. But the mere fact that you're willing to give me the lunch as I work, I might go like, you know what? Yes, I'll probably not even eat it over lunchtime. I'll probably pack it and go home with it, and I can use it for dinner. You see, you just lowered my expenses, and you're winning me, or you're wooing me towards your side, towards accepting to receive the 4,000 shillings for the work. The fourth thing you could do is simply say, you know what? I like the way you're doing your work, but how about I buy you uniform, maybe 2 dresses to do the work, and I'll brand them with your name. And then when I refer you to these people, they'll see that you're actually a professional. And I'll go like, wow, that's a beautiful thing, because you just made me a professional. Now I look like a real cleaning service company. Think about it. With only 4 things, 4 ways, you're actually wooing me to lower my price by a whole 1,000 shillings. And chances are, those dresses will not even cost 1,000 shillings each. You see, it's just being respectful. That way, even if I lower my price to 4,000, I still feel respected. And you actually also feel respected. Now, what are the 3 things that I'm saying that you shouldn't do? The first thing you should never ever do, especially when you're dealing with service-based businesses, and especially if those businesses are very young, startups, small businesses, there are 3 things you shouldn't do. And this is one of them. 1, don't be rigid, and never ever be rigid on the dollar sign. What do I mean by this? As a seller or a buyer, never be rigid on the dollar sign. Never keep all your mind fixed on the money. For example, look at the 4 offers that have been given, that you are giving me to lower my price. None of them is actually monetary equivalent, but they are all favorable. If I fix my mind to the 5,000 only and I don't listen to your offers, chances are I'll miss out on all this. On the other hand, if you don't listen to my reason for asking for 5,000, you will miss out on my offer of saying, you know what, just meet me halfway. I'll lower my price by 500, and you can increase by 500, and we meet at 4,500. Don't be so rigid on the money. Be willing to listen to the other person. Now, the other thing is, never ignore the other party's reason for their pricing. I know that sounds very awkward, but think about it. As a seller, when you ignore the buyer's reason for their price, you would be missing in them giving you the secret to your competitor. There's a very good chance that they're saying, I can only pay you 4,000 because so and so also sells the same thing for this price, and they offer this and they offer this on top of a service. What does that actually mean? That you can actually maximize on those services you're being told and increase your services and still offer the whole package at 5,000 shillings. Think about it. Sometimes we forget to use our ears to listen to the reasons of the other person. And the third thing that I find totally annoying, the third thing you should never do when you're negotiating in a service-based industry, is to never, ever, ever state the favors you've done for the other party. What do I mean? Now, I'll give you a very good story that happened some time ago. Actually, it's happened quite a number of times. I'm a business mentor, and sometimes I come across people or companies that are willing to provide a certain training so that they can show me the format of how they want me to go and do the work. Now, when I'm mentoring, at times I mentor women in the rural areas or youth. So which means that there is a certain language they want me to use. There's a certain format they want me to use over and above my skills, over and above my experience. So they want me to go and mentor these people, but they want me to use a certain format so that when they collect data, it will be easy for them to maybe hand it over or to use it in their own systems. And most of the time, this training that, or this format they want me to use comes in form of a training. It could be a 2 days training, a whole week's training. And during this training, they don't pay me. They could pay my fare, but they don't pay me to come and sit down and be trained because they want me to use their format when I'm mentoring their people. But what I've noticed is very common is that even though they'll have stated the price earlier, saying that even after you've gone through the training, we will only pay you 2,000 shillings per hour. Now, I know it's about 2,000 shillings, but my psychological genie in negotiation tells me that it's important to speak out. So what happens is after I've gone through training, I raise up my hand and say, you know what, the 2,000 shillings you're talking about per hour, I actually think I suggest that you should raise it maybe to 3,000. Why? Maybe the distance. I'd look at the distance. I'll probably state, you want me to sit in for 2 hours? It's absolutely not possible for that kind of work. I actually need to go on maybe a little longer. I'll probably need to give them my number and I'll be using my time when I answer questions on the phone. Now, this is not volunteer work. This is still your work. This is what you are paying me to do. So I'm simply asking, could you increase 1,000 shillings more so that the whole package can be complete? And that's when I hear NGOs and companies representatives starting to state this. You know, the kind of training we are giving you to show you our format is our top secret, and everybody we've shown this, we actually charge them 100,000 shillings per hour. And I sit there and I think, you're stating the favor to force me to back out of the negotiation. I find that ridiculous. Why? Because you see, for me to be able to do it the way you wanted it done, you actually needed to train me. So it's no longer a favor. It is you showing me your system so that I can do it as you want. Otherwise, I would have come in and worked under my system. Right? Now, when I see people use that trick and say I have done you this favor, I have trained you, given you education worth 100,000, and I'm only asking you to receive 2,000. You know, I have fed you, I've taken care of your fare for you to sit in this training, which is worth 100,000. But now you're asking for more money. I sit there and I wonder, what part of listening did you get? You see, I'm not saying I don't appreciate. I actually appreciate, because what you teach me remains with me. You can't take away from that. Even if I walked away, you can't take it away from me. But the one thing I know for sure, negotiating helps us understand that, you know, how far you're asking me to go with the amount you're paying me is definitely not workable. That even if I worked under your terms, chances are you're crushing my abilities, you're crushing my business, you're crushing my side of the deal. So when you use that favor against me, I find that ridiculous. And this is very common. Well, you know, I've done this for you, I've done this for you, so you need to lower the price. No, simply say, you know what? I hear you and I really appreciate that you actually came for this training. And I know that this is going to benefit both of us. But for now, could you please work with this figure? In our next session, and we would really be keen to include you, in our next session, we will actually include you in the pricing. Or we will actually consult, or we will use this information so that we can budget better. Because I know all these things are budgeted for. By explaining with a lot of respect without using favors against the other party, you get respected. I wonder how many times we use negotiation to crush the other party. Now, let me recap on this. 4 things you could do to woo the other person to your side of a deal when negotiating. One is that you could give them an offer to lengthen the term of service so that they keep earning from this kind of service. In the laundry case, we are saying you could extend them. You say, in 3 months, you keep doing this per week and I'll pay you. The other thing you could do is to refer the other person to your network so that they can benefit from your network and still give you a lower price. The third thing you could do is to offer them something that will reduce their expenses. And in this case, it could be a lunch. The other thing is to brand them so that they look good even in their own service. Now, sorry about that. There are three things that I believe you should never ever do. One of them, you should never be rigid on the dollar sign. Don't just focus your mind on the money. Think of the other things. The second thing is never ignore the other party's reason for sticking to their price or wanting the price to be as it is. The third thing is never state favors as a part of a bargaining power or to use it against the other party. I hope you will use all this information for your own benefit and to grow your business. My name is Magdalene Kamau Otieno. I'm your mentor. And I wish you a very, or a super productive week ahead. Remember, you're on a mission. Do it, leave it.